that feed? Nothing. Um, okay. Okay. Kind of weird. Okay. So I'm just starting to stream Wednesday 1 a.m. I'm gonna schedule from now on. Um, and we'll see how it goes. Painting Khizriel today. I was gonna finish off the rattlesnake, but I decided that my camera is pretty bad and it's not going to actually pick up a lot of details that I want to like put in the highlights and little dark spots. So I have opted to start a Khizriel instead because of recent update news with the what you call it, the recent news in Eve anyway, to do with the some of the game mechanics that for some reason my brain's not thinking of right now. Um, Now I kind of want, not sure I want a really, I don't really want a reddish background, but we are sort of like going again with a similar or pretty much the same palette as last time. So a bit of yellow ochre. Um, and to be honest with you, I'm actually just using these Cotmans, the Windsor Newton Cotmans, because they're actually pretty good and I can get them locally um, pretty easily. So I've got a bunch from sets that I've bought. Um, so yeah, just the Cotman's watercolors, and they are really good. The Windsor Newton ones, and again, pretty much we're running with the same exact things. These two I don't really use a lot of, so that's cadmium red and yellow ochre. I don't usually use them. I've got a yellow, cadmium yellow here just in case as well, and my main two colours, which are the burnt umber and the ultramarine, and again, pretty much use those for everything. I've got to figure out how to turn this bloody delay off at some point. I don't actually know uh, how I put it on originally. Um, but I mean, it says this stream delay is actually off, so I don't know why it's delayed. Let's take it. Let's actually put it on for 1, and we'll apply that. So we've got a 1 second delay. Well, that looks like more than 1. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I suppose that's about a second. So yeah, I do. At least we've got something out of it. Hi, person who's just joined. Don't know who that is, but I have literally just been talking to myself for the last 5 minutes. Say hello in the chat, and I will talk to you. I'm just getting my colours ready at the moment, because I wanted to get some of this all together and stuff. So I'm making my black, which is the ultramarine blue, basically mixed with the burnt umber. And I'm going to paint in a Khizriel. So Khizriel, how would you say that? Khizriel. So I kind of wanted this sort of like reddish, this sort of like watery colour really, for the background splosh. I do want it kind of red, but I don't want it kind of red. So I'm going to kind of ignore the background on that you see on the picture, and I'm going to go for this sort of like watery colour instead. And there's a reason for that as well, because when I do it watery, look, that's actually going to give me the right background sploshy sort of like colour I want. So I'm going to do it like this. And hopefully we are going to be left with some nice colours there. I forgot to get my little thing out, a little bit of tissue here, because I actually don't want all of this to be, I want some of this to be showing through. Or at least a lighter colour. I just realised that little bit there I kind of want to have a bit darker. But we're alright. We're alright, because I'm just gonna we'll do it like that, and then maybe a couple of little so I like to do just a splash for two reasons. One, I quite like the way the pattern goes, and because I'm just trying to focus on the one ship, it sort of like gives it a little bit of I don't really want to say depth, but it does give it a little bit of rather than it just being bang straight on a page. I kind of like the splash look. You can see that some of this paint is actually ran into the corner, so that actually means that I've made it a bit darker than, oh sorry, a bit more watery than I should have. But that's alright, because we can fix that later with a bit of acrylic. No, I'm only joking. I'll probably put on another wash later and sort of like even it out and put some more darks around the areas. So I'll probably go a bit dark up here, and in here, but on this side I'll probably leave it quite light, and then that way the dark sort of like colours will show through and the light colours will have something to contrast off of. So pretty, just gonna go over these, and do you know what, I'm gonna see, I'm just gonna throw some salt. So I'm just going to get a little tiny bit of salt. I don't know if you can see that, and I don't want a lot. I don't want it on that, so I can just flick it off because it's dry at the moment. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit of water on some of these little some of these little watery some of these bits of salt, just to give them something to melt into. I meant to do it on my last stream, just so people could see what the actual salt effect would be. So we should see that sort of like start coming in a minute. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that dry for a little second while I'm getting the old washing machine out. Sorry, the old hair dryer. But I just want to sort of like, let's get this on a slow heat. So let me just turn the mic off a minute. Okay. So just to get ourselves a bit sorted out, I'm just going to get this a bit of this sort of like organised. And oh, I've run out of tea. That's never fun. And because this salt's actually dried, let's give it a little tap and try and get some of this salt back off the page, because I don't want it affecting the rest of my painting. You can't really see it that much on here, so I'll probably put some again later, but maybe if I hold it up really close you can see what the salt sort of effect on here has. Obviously the colours weren't that dark, so it doesn't really show that well, plus it's a terrible camera which I need to replace. You know, step by step, or little by little, so I should say. So I need to get this grey, this a bit more bluish grey, because that's a bit brown. So that's a bit more warm than I'd like, and I want it to be like a cool grey or a cool dark colour for what I want. So that's probably better. That's a lot better. And obviously the first one I want to have quite quite watery. Oh, it's gone a little bit warm again. Just a little bit of blue. Ultramarine blue. So where's my actual picture? Because I don't have it. Painting for again from the little picture, which is never ever good. Instead of the actual image that I should have. I've now got on my second computer screen, I should say. Okay. Actually, that is a bit more warm than I'd. Looking at it now, it is a bit more warmer. So this will all dry really like a lot lighter. So let's just and again I'm gonna try to not be too what's the word? I'm gonna try and be a bit loose with this. Obviously sometimes we try and do stuff and we end up a bit more going a bit more detail orientated than anything else, which is something I kind of want to avoid in all of my paintings. I want it to look like the object, but I want it to look like a painting as well, you know. So, which is one of our main goals here. Now, obviously, I've made my little palette. These pretty much colours as I went over earlier. So pretty much I'm going to be using a mixture of these and probably adding probably adding little bits or depending on what colour or tone I want on the actual thing. Most of this is going to actually go with those colours though. Wherever I see a white, you'll see me paint it a dark colour first, and then I'll be going over that with acrylics later. Because it's just a lot easier, especially with that splash at the back, to get that sort of like splashy wavy look. It's just a lot easier. Now I kind of want to a little orangey sort of colour, but I don't have one right now. Give me a second. Just ever so, because that orange just isn't gonna go. So that's cadmium red. I think we've just got cadmium reds. What I do have, I believe I've got a Da Vinci here. So I'm just going through different colours. I've got some acrylics in here. They shouldn't really be in there, but they end up in there somehow every now and again, even ones that I never use. So we're looking for one of these, Mayan orange. So that's sorry, Daniel Smith's watercolours. Daniel Smith's, they're pretty good as well. And I'm looking for. I might have to actually make this orange up. It's just for some of these little bits. So I'm just gonna make it on there. I know that's a little bit weird, but it is what it is, and that's how I'm going to do things right now. bit redder. Okay, that'll do. No, it's not really the colour I wanted, but it'll do. We'll go with the sort of it's only for this bit really, and okay, so maybe that bit. That should have been a bit grayer really, and it's this little bit here. That I kind of wanted to fuck around with anyway. I didn't really want to put that there, but it's alright. Okay, and I'll just take that back. Probably just to put a little bit. No, that's alright. Because we're going to put, like, the one good thing about this is because we're doing sort of like opaque, sort of like washes. This should be fine. Even if I do some mistakes, I guess you could call them. Again, previous streams that I've done, I've said that, you know, I'm trying not to do too much detail, and some of the background stuff is going to be even less detail, because well, we don't really want to show that sort of detail too much, and it gives it a better sense of depth. So I mean, most of this back bit is probably going to go grey anyway. There's a little bit of red there, but I'm just going to go with grey for the most part. That sort of warmish grey colour we've got here. Most of this is actually like a light sort of grey that will probably have more colour added to it later. I think this one actually can be a bit like that, and then yeah, the bit underneath again. Here there's a bit of an area here that we're probably just going to pull out later with some more details. Obviously we can see that this bit's got a bit of darkness to it. Same as here, there's a bit of lightness here, but see, if I do the whole painting like that, I'll be here all day. So what I do is I just do the whole thing, and then later on, when I want to come in with some different colours, or like a wash, like so see this bit's got a bit of reddish tinge to it, so I just do that and then grab a little bit of red or orange in this case, and then just bring it in. Or maybe later I'd produce a little bit of red and then bring it in like that. So you've got a very subtle sort of look. I can also do like washes later on, like acrylic washes or whatever. Like these all have this is all sort of like a reddish and blackish tinge, so to make my life easier, it's just easier just to go with the grey, let that sort of settle in as a wash. I mean, yeah, if you look at it, technically it's actually a brown, like a light brown, but same here, look. So I can see the majority of this is it's actually this light sort of like brownish colour, and I can just sort of bring my colours around like this. And again, just to be a bit looser, a bit more loose with these colours. So I feel like this one's got a bit more bluish tinge on it, and I can see from my palette that the blue started separating, so I can sort of almost bring it round and sort of semi sort of like blend it while it's still wet. And then again back here. So for the most part is that done. We've got this bit of grey at the back here for the engine sort of nacelles or nozzles, whatever you want to call them. There is a little line here as well, and I kind of want to just produce a little bit of detail in the back there. I think that's for the most part. There is some there's a little bit of grey here, or it's the sort of like the outline of the I don't know what you'd call that actually. And I'd say here as well, but it's not. I mean, I can do that, but it's not really the colour I want. Okay, that'll work. So I don't want to get too pinicky and caught up in details here. I kind of want it to sort of like be to maintain that loose feel and stuff like that. As a side note, if you have any really cool like screenshots or suggestions, you can always pop them in chat or message me or something. I don't know how it works on Twitch. I guess I'd have to allow you to link things, or you could actually hop onto, go to my Twitter and just do it from there. At me at Twitter or something, Oh, there's also this one in there. So I'm going to try and make this a bit redder later. For now, I'm just going to put in the grey sections there, sort of like hovering around there, and then let that dry a little bit. Yeah, I kind of do really want to have a sort of watered down shade here. That's perfect. Because we've got a lot of these little camo parts and stuff, or little details, so I'm gonna just put in. And I mean, some of these will probably get a little bit Oh, a little bit more uh, done it, because that's not really the colour we want, but it's alright. No one's really watching, so I don't really care. And that's probably the best way to be. I mean, to just have it, to just be sort of like carefree. Besides some of these details, you know, when you're painting, you really do want them to be really loose, and you don't really want to worry too much about colours and whether you're making mistakes or not. Because then we're making less art. Mhm. I'm not even doing any shading really. I should do the shading first, but I'm just like marking out some details with this light colour, which is just gonna happen to be some of our other colours as well. See, I've totally missed this bit out, so we'll worry about that at another point. I just add the camo in, even though we don't really want to add that camo in right now, but it doesn't matter. Some of this will probably be washed out in a little bit as we're painting, so it's just giving me sort of like something to really do while I'm waiting for it to dry, and also just putting it there will help me uh, figure out where I'm going as well later on. So I can see there's another little bit of colour there, and this bit's going to be in shadow. I'm going to let that bit stay as it is. I'll let that little bit dry while I come down here and put in some more of the camo spots. There's a bit here. This bit's got quite a lot in. Oh. Trying to pick up that water. Okay, that'll do. Again, just bring that there. And I can see that this bit's got a different tone on it, but again, I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm just trying to loosen myself up at the moment because I'm feeling a bit and a little bit lighter there. Hey, Vader, how's it going? I haven't seen you for a long time. We've been up to such. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm not very good at catching up with people. I was saying this to a friend that's actually lives where I live, and I haven't seen him for about 6 or 7 months either. I'm just really, uh, I find it hard to keep up with everyone. Did I've seen you on Eve a couple of times actually. Like when I've logged on, I've seen like your little thing come up saying you've gone offline. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even know he was online. But a lot of people aren't playing. Obviously, a lot of people we know aren't playing Eve anymore. Oh, crazy in a good way, I hope. So I've got a little bit of detail here that I've missed out. Yeah, we're just gonna go grey there. Are you still mining? Is it just a mining thing, or are you finally getting into piracy like you wanted to years ago, but didn't have the heart for? Ah, okay. Yeah, well, it's not easy, is it? You know. Give me a minute. I'm just gonna mute the mic because I've got the. You missed your BPOs. You still got them, yeah? I don't even use mine anymore, to be honest with you. It's industry and Eve is just like, why bother like half the time, you know? Just bear with me a minute. I'm just gonna I'm gonna think about this process, but I'm gonna just put on the kettle a second. I'll be right back. So you building anything in Eve at the moment, or? Oh, no worries. I just said, are you building anything in Eve at the moment, or? I'm just gonna go over this with a little rubber, and get rid of some of these lines. Uh, Not many. It's just sometimes I feel like the lines are a bit heavier than I wanted. Uh, so some of these can go, or you can see where I just rub it gently, and the line gets a lot more faded, which is where I want to be. I don't want it to be too strong. Yeah, there are. I mean, I still just do a bit of trading, even less now because I just can't be. I can't. I just don't have the time, and I can't really be asked to do stuff. To update the orders and stuff all the time. Right, be right back. Well, you can always type in a thing. So it's just I'm a tea addict, you see, and I'd run out, and that's how I like my tea, you know. We don't do none of that. We don't cook the water in the microwave either, by the way, because that would be weird. So right now, what I'm trying to decide is, I didn't really have any sort of like plan for this. I know there's a few lines here that I haven't put in. You can see here this isn't a very smooth line. So what I tend to do, because for some reason I can paint better at different angles, I'd probably bring that in a bit like that when I'm doing some detail later on. But right now I kind of want to make the ship pop out. Gotta have a cup of tea, man. Gotta have a cup of tea. So yeah, I was going to say, like, I haven't really done any industry in E for like so long. I just don't see the profit in it. So how am I going to make this pop out? I kind of want a dark line here, but I don't want it here. And I kind of want it to be a bit more orangey, but I don't really want to bring orange into that colour. So the best thing I can do is I'm going to turn this around, and you'll see what I mean now. And first off, I'm just going to put it along this this edge here and this edge, and it's just a bit of colour, and we can see at the top of here anyway. It sort of like goes a little bit. So I'm not following the actual Khizriel background really, but I am going to do it like this. And you can see every now and again it'll flick a bit of it'll flick a bit of paint up. No, I'm not really gonna worry about that. I'm gonna just bring in some water like that, and I'm gonna kind of like leave it like that there, and then do the same here, which is, I don't know, I don't think I've done this right actually, this little bit, but it's alright. We're gonna go with that leading edge there, and it doesn't matter if I blend into this bit, because that bit's gonna go grey anyway. It's just more about bringing this edge out a little bit. So to make this a little bit more contrasting, I'm going to also do this again. Give it a little bit of a cloud sort of feeling. Out here, and leave that. Leave that a bit lighter on that side. And that'll help give it a bit more. Define it. It'll help define the edges a little bit more. And now, because there's a little bit more colour, I can actually see this. Or I haven't actually had much luck with salt in my more recent picks, but in the past ones, I actually had quite a lot of joy with it. It just yeah. To Canada, it's, yeah, my camera is really terrible. I don't know if that'll be better for you guys, but then if I put that one on, the shadow comes on So I've really got to get some better cameras because that light is really too strong. But shipping costs to Canada, I think, if I remember rightly, was anywhere between 10 and 30 quid, depending on how you want it shipped. I think standard tracking was like 10, £12. It could be less. It could be more off the top of my head. I can't really remember. I have shipped to a few to Canada though. So the problem with the salt is right now I'm sat here and I'm thinking I've just realised the last time I did salt I literally had to just leave it for like quite a long time, and then the salt would melt, and we'd go from there. Oh, Canada's like the salt isn't really working for me today. I'm afraid, guys. So we'll just leave that out for now. Um, maybe I'll do something later with that. So I'm still sort of like stuck with what I was gonna do next. I can see a lot of like little details I've not really put in, but I did kind of want to do some shading first, um, which I don't think is going to really let me because I've got the tone, the general tone that I want. Um, so what do we do? Well, while we're waiting, I shall put in a little bit more camo that I missed out up here because obviously I did that little bit of shading that I wanted. Um, and again, it doesn't need to be perfect, guys. It just needs to sort of like look like the ship that we want it to look like. Um, again, there's a lot that details I'm sort of like missing or glazing over at the moment, especially in background or any dark sort of like colours and stuff, you know. So again, I can see there's a little bit of red um, in some of these parts. So this is where watercolor sort of like really sort of comes out. I'm just going to basically put a red wash there. That's not a very strong red wash there. So I'm going to go over it again. That was a bit too strong, but it's alright because we're going to go back over this anyway. Um, yeah, yeah, we're going to go back over this anyway. with a sort of like darker colour. There's also this bit that I sort of like didn't remember to put in. And again, I'll probably do. I'm probably going to do this sort of like these like little bits with some more acrylic, like this bit here, this bit here. It's got a bit of red on it. Up here, there's a little bit of red up here as well. And the acrylic sort of like really helps, sort of like when you're trying to bring in sort of details and stuff, you know. Um, and I didn't like the way this orange looked, so just putting a little bit of extra red on there, and I'll bring that out later. And then we've got some colour here, but it's not really how I'd look at that. So I'll just put a little bit of red there, and wait for sort of like later on before I do anything else with that. Okay, I see a few more people have jumped in the stream. Welcome to the stream, guys. So we are painting a Khizriel today. Khizriel, that's how I'm saying it. I don't know how CCP are saying it. If you know how it's said, pop it in a comment in the stream, and I will be happy to change what I'm saying. So I can see that this background bit has a bit more of a colour. So now, when I do a swish or any type of paint, if I go up, we should end up with the blotch of paint at the end, right? Like that. So if I want a darker colour at this end, I'd start here and work over. So that is what we're going to do. Now I'm using quite a liquidy shade here, so I'm just going to go, and you see that? So the darker colour is left here, and that gives me a bit more room to lighten this side up, or lift, what we call lift the watercolour up by you know, either with a clean water and brush, or with a bit of tissue, you know. We can see here as well, similar. There's actually a bit of shadow in this corner, but it's real difficult. So I kind of want to lift that. I don't want it there, and I just want it left there. Here again, you can see I actually left this bit here as a darker color, but if you will notice this now, because I'm pulling this way, I can actually bring that shade in, and then it does the work for me, more or less. So I don't need to really shade that whole area, because I already shaded it earlier, and it's only that bit of camo, so to speak, that I wanted to show through. Some of this I'm actually just winging as well. It's the illusion of, we just want the illusion of detail as opposed to actual detail, and we can see that some of this has actually got a little bit of like a reflected little bit of reflected shadow, just to make it a little bit rounder. And we don't really see it on this side, but because I can see there's some terrible bleed there, and I kind of want to not have that bleed there, I'm going to do it here anyway, and then just lift that off. And again, if you've got, I'm gonna, if you go on my website or on my socials, you'll find. I mean, it's probably better on Twitter. If you've got any screenshots or suggestions, feel free to at me on Twitter with them. And my Twitter is just. Well, I might as well just get the Twitter itself, hadn't I? You know. That's my Twitter page right there. So if you want to at me on Twitter and just add some screenshots that you like the look of. So this occasional splashes and that, they don't really matter too much. They can actually be lifted off quite easily um, with just a bit of water and a sponge or whatever. So we don't worry too much about those. What I do worry about quite a lot is getting my tea mixed up with my water. Obviously they don't look the same today, but it is the same colour. Hey Tina, how's it going? Nice to see you. This is the Khizriel that I'm doing today. Obviously, it's been I put in about an hour at the moment, and I'm just sort of like doing a couple of little touches. Oop, that was way too dark. So we're gonna just use that. Again. It's a little bit difficult to type and has it really been that long, Pete? Oh yeah, Pete Satch. I don't know if you'd recognise the name, but yeah, Satch you probably remember. Satchmo, the miner. Yeah, Pete's in on yeah. So this is what we've got so far. I'm going to just turn off the mic again because I have to keep using this hairdryer to sort of like speed things along. So yeah, I said like earlier, when Tina asked if I knew Pete, I said, I actually laughed when she went when she mentioned your name. I actually laughed because I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like he is literally everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like who? So I like literally replied like, "Who doesn't know Pete?" So I'm sort of like looking at this a moment, and I'm just deciding which sort of like details I now sort of want to work on. My black is probably around the right color that I want, the right sort of texture, but I'm not sure if this brush is right for it. See, because my brain really wants to do some sort of like quite heavy detail and stuff, and my other part of me is like saying no, keep it, keep it light, you know. So this is actually quite dark. All of these colours here are quite dark. I use acrylic to bring that orange in because again, it's just too difficult. If I want to paint loosely, it's just too difficult. I'm going to bring all these sort of colours in like that. Yeah, I'll leave. I kind of like leave that edge and bring this around. And similar, it's so some of these colours now are going to sort of like should start popping out a little bit more with the addition of some actual darker colours. Obviously I want to keep it, still keeping it sort of like fairly loose, because that's how I want it, just loose. And I'll worry about the angles and stuff later. Although there are a couple of little details here I want, this brush doesn't really deal with them very well. So this brush basically deals with like larger, let's say larger volumes of work. I mean, it's not a mop brush, but it does. Oh, we can afford to make all that sort of black anyway. Not black, but darker. And again, there's this little bit of dark that's probably going to go a lot darker at some point. Um, Same here. There are some. I mean, this is actually quite dark. And again, I'm pushing the paint to where I want it to be darkest. So, for example, up here, I know I'm going to go over this in a little bit, but up here I will start at the top and then bring that paint down so the dark patch, the dark bit of that is actually at the bottom. I don't know how much you can see on here, but yeah, it's the thing about Eve is like it's such a we hate to say it, but it's actually such a good game that it just doesn't really have. Once you've played it, it just doesn't really have any real competition if you like that sort of thing. So I've tried playing so many other games. I've got starters and I've got so many other games and I just get bored of them really quickly because I just don't feel that I have that much freedom to deal with them really as I do in Eve. Plus you got you got the social factor as well. There's a huge social factor even though I play mostly alone, um, because I'm a loner, and I like solo PvP and stuff like that. Even though I play quite a lot on my own, it's still a social, very, very social game for me. Like I'll log on and sometimes I'll be running around space and somebody will be like, "Oh, hey Gio, how's it going?" And I'll be like, "God, I haven't seen you for years. You know, how are you?" Uh, which is, to be honest, is one of the reasons why I don't join a lot of big groups as well, because I've heard, so many big groups don't like you talking to members of the opposition and stuff like that, and I'm just like, well, it's just a game. I like talking to some people, and I don't really care if they're in my corp or not. I think Lugs has had problems with that as well before, where people in different alliances have told him, no, no, you can't talk to them, they're the enemy, and it's just silly. It really is just silly. Like I get it. He's not given any sort of like intel out though. And I think uh, I think Lenka has been kicked from Lenka's been kicked from a corp for trying to get like a decent fight before, I believe. One of the nullsec corps he was ratting in took I don't know, they took sort of like offence to him giving intel out, what they classed as intel, and he was just basically trying to get a gang together for some of us. He knew we were in the area, so he was like, "Oh yeah, go here. There's a gang there. You'll get a fight, sort of thing." And they kicked him for it, I believe, which I thought again was just kind of funny because he's only trying to help people have fun in the game. So you kind of like, why do people get kicked like for that sort of stuff? Okay, if they were doing like, if he was just like providing intel on like routers or movement or something important, you know. But I mean, all of that information is kind of available anyway. Like it's easy to find out where people are ratting and stuff. So I don't know. Again, I don't know why people do it. I've actually got Star Citizen, but I just haven't managed to get into it. Do you mean Taliesin, Pete? Ah, then it was because I was going to say I don't think Tally was the goon spy, wasn't he? Um, I'm not really sure. I was pretty much the person who did most of the. Oh, hey, convict. Yeah, I was kind of like without kind of really, like when someone shares something and they're really like happy. I was like, oh wow, I did not expect that sort of like reaction. And it was really nice actually. I kind of liked it. Um, but yeah, I felt like really like, oh my god, like it always surprises me when I don't know why, but it always surprises me when people like the art. It's just I don't know. I don't know why we're always surprised, but we are. I do remember Laguna, yeah. I wonder what happened to her. Welcome to the stream, by the way, convict. Nice of you to join. So this is where it's going to get heavy or interesting for me. A lot of these details, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. You will see them slowly, sort of like appear, but I don't know how much you see. Like you can't really see the lines unless I do that close. So I'm just doing these sort of lines to sort of like help start pulling in the detail on the picture. Yeah, well, I could have put it. Some people suggested I put it on the art bit on Twitch, but I'm like, no, it's Eve content really. And the other thing is like, I do solo PvP sometimes, and I've been considering streaming that, like I have in the past. And I just thought, oh no, I'll just keep it. I'll just keep it as Eve, because it's pretty much going to be Eve. And then after this, I might actually choose to, I might think, oh, you know what, I might go for a little roam. Or if this turned into like a messy puddle, like straight away, I'd have been like, you know what, let's go roaming. Let's go and lose some ships because that's pretty much all I do lately. Lose ships or kill people who are AFK. I can't seem to. I seem to be struggling to get fights from a lot of people lately. So I need to sort of like learn quite a few things again about Eve. So we're just going with the darker colours here. Again, pull in to where we want the shadow the most. Because some of this is actually going to be like this is actually quite a lighter colour, and I don't want to sort of like ruin that just yet. We've got some of these little details coming out, which I'm going to. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do now. Sometimes you'll hit a spot, like I've just done there. I've just hit a spot, and I can see that although I didn't like this line, it's probably this bit. So I'll just put a bit of water down, and then I will just. So that sort of like smooths it out a little bit, and then similarly I'm going to change this around again and try and get this line into like a line that I actually like the look of. Now because it's wet, no, doesn't matter. It's not really going the way I want it. So maybe I'll just do it like that and just okay, let's see how that goes. Now because it's wet I'm gonna have to wait before I put any more detail on it. um, yeah, that was really cool. And mine won. Like he like I didn't expect that. I was like just talking, and then Tina was like, "Oh, I like your art" or something like that. Like and then she shared it with Mind. I don't even know why he looked at it, to be honest. I must have said something. Um, and then she shared it with Mind, and Mind was like, "Oh wow, holy shit," sort of thing. And I was like, "Oh fuck," like yeah, I wasn't expecting such a lovely reaction, to be honest, which is it's always nice. But like I said, when I went to FanFest, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, I love your art and stuff," and then my brain just because I was chatting to Ludovic as well, and I think he's pretty similar and a lot of the artists that I actually like, their art seem to have the same sort of like mentality. They sort of like just don't feel that they're actually as good as they are, and he's amazing. Like he does like the ship designs, Eve ship designs, and I've actually got some of his stuff up on my wall that I got at FanFest, and like this, some of the sketches that he's done, and I was like over the moon. And he came over to me and he was chatting to me and he was telling me about it. He was like, "Oh yeah, I really like your art," and I was like, "What? How do you know about my art? It's insane." Oh, yeah, I remember it. I remember you saying. It's nice though. It's nice. So, but I've spoke to you before. Yeah, he's met my brother. I think quite a few of the guys at CCP have met my brother now, haven't they? Especially seeing as I didn't turn up the first time to FanFest. I was a little bit disappointed that there was no FanFest this year, but it is what it is. I know. I was like, oh, I was kind of like looking forward to go into FanFest and stuff again. Um, but you know, it'll be next year, I believe. Yeah, it was really cool actually meeting you and a lot of the people. I mean, at FanFest, I didn't really get the opportunity to have a chat with many people. Like, I didn't really get a chance to chat to Anna properly. But you guys were all working, like, you know, so it's not exactly easy for you guys to just go, oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna stop doing this now and have a little chat. Um, so I'm gonna try and make my way over at some point. Just to see the, you know, I'd really want to go over and just see the studios and sort of like actually meet people and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. Again, like, this bit's a lot darker and not as dark here as I'd like it to be. And I'm trying to go light because I don't really want it affecting the rest of the stuff. But here is sort of like where the line gets a bit blurred, I guess, because I really want that to be a bit darker without compromising that red. But I guess, yeah. So I guess what we're gonna end up doing is bringing that in with some darker colours at a later point, and maybe pulling it out again with some acrylics. Again, I'm always pulling stuff out with acrylics here, so it is what it is, you know. He's doing alright. He's just working. He does a lot of overtime and stuff like that. Um, he's an electrician, so there's always overtime available for electricians. I kind of really want to. I need to get together like a little forum or something so I can have people post suggestions or screenshots that I can use as references and stuff like that. I really sometimes it's really difficult to find reference pictures, um, so I really need to sort that out. But for now, I don't know how much of this detail you guys are seeing, which is one of the reasons why I chose not to finish the rattlesnake today. I mean, the rattlesnake's still here. That's the rattlesnake, and I chose to not do. I'm going to try and get at the end of the month. I'm going to try and get a better camera, and maybe I'll finish this before, maybe afterwards. But I kind of want to get a better camera and then do the highlights on that when I actually get around to it. Because I just don't think the stream here really lets me show some of the detail. I watched. I was going back over it, um, and I noticed that I just wasn't seeing um, some of the detail I was actually talking about, which isn't ideal, is it? You know, we kind of want to see the detail when we're talking about it. Does anyone in the stream paint? Is what I want to know. And if they do, what do they use? Do they use acrylics or? Oh, hey Echo, how's it going? Manifest. I never know what to call people in Eve. Like, so many of them have like their names are so different on Twitch or social media and stuff. I'm not sure I want to ask you more about that, Pete. Incoming viewers, where are they coming from? Oh, oh, thanks again, Tina. You've been absolutely nice. You've been absolutely wonderful tonight. Stop, stop. I got to wonder, what is it? You said you're mine's manager, wasn't it? You said you do the social media thing. No, not social media. You're his Twitch manager, was it? So we're just doing a Khizriel here. At the moment, I'm just bringing in some sort of like some of the minor detail. And for some reason, I've started at the bottom, and I should have probably started at the top. Haha, there's a song, isn't there? Didn't I was thinking about this earlier. Is I used to watch solo PvPers stream. One of the guys I used to watch was Kill 2, and I remember being on a stream one day with watching Kill's stream, and somebody turned around and said how much he looked like Drake, and since then I have not been able to forget it. That's kind of cool though. I mean, that's got to be a pretty interesting job, so to speak, um, in its own way, or and definitely rewarding in its own way. I mean, you must get to talk to all sorts of people as well, not just organising stuff and that, you know. But I mean, CCP have been, I don't know what other companies are like, but CCP have been great with me, so I've got nothing to complain about there at all. It's actually been really, really cool, having this sort of like opportunity to do this. And I was really glad because I remember when I first spoke to them and that, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, we really love your stuff," and I was like, "What? How do you know about my stuff?" And like, "Yeah, we've seen it before. It's been shared in the office." I was like, "Wow, did not expect that sort of response on that," and they've been bloody great. Anna's got some Tristans that I painted. Convict, I believe, has got a, is it the widow or the scorpion? I believe he's got like the loads of the CCP guys have got artwork of mine, and they're really good because they won't accept it without, you know, they always want to pay. Like, and I'm always trying to I've tried giving Anna paintings before as well. I don't know what happens with them, to be honest. I like to give stuff away as well sometimes, but yeah, to be honest, I'd like to give more stuff away, but sometimes you just need the money and that. I was trying to give away a painting for a solo PvP competition, but it just sort of like hit a dead end really. I was trying to give that the Hydra away. Still in a tube? Oh no, that doesn't sound fun. You gotta get it out. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, at least while it's in there, it's not being damaged. So at least there is that. I've decided to take a different tack with some of these red colours now because they're not really going according to how I'd wanted them to go. Kind of wanted them to be a little bit darker, but you know, they'll come, they will adjust in time. Oh shit, there's like 47 people. Okay. Hi guys. Hi everyone that's joined. Thanks for joining. We're painting a Khizriel today. Just to everyone's catch up. I don't actually use quite a big palette. I actually use mainly two colours. It's the Ultramarine and Burnt Umber. And today we've got some yellow ochre mixed in with this, and obviously for the highlights and the orangey parts, we've got these two colours and a Daniel Smith. But I'm probably going to go back over that with acrylics and stuff like that. So like if you're here later, I'm going to get a better camera because this one's really terrible for the highlights and stuff. But okay, so I can see a bottom line here, which is good. Yeah, I can't really seem to get a nice picture or stream with this camera, even though it said it was HD. I was lied to. It's not as HD as I wanted it, you know, which is irritating. Um, but you know, these things happen, and I guess people have to sell their stuff. So now, sometimes you might think that putting highlights on and stuff like that is actually, uh, you know, you'd actually paint with a white, but sometimes it's actually the dark color that makes the rest stand out, which is what we've tried doing on this edge and here, to just try and pull it out a little bit with dark in the background rather than put any light sort of color on it. But there is always room for changing that. So I don't know if you can see the palette I'm working with. It's pretty much a mixture of the colours that I've started with. And if I want to go darker or lighter, I tend to just make a wash. This is the thickest colour I've got, which is literally just a mixture of ultramarine brown and burnt umber, and that's where I get all my darks from. So I don't actually use blacks at all when I'm painting. I prefer to actually just use these colours and sort of like bring it out. This is actually a bit browner because I'm just going to be bringing this in a bit as a shade line more than anything else. I can see that there is a bit there, see, and a bit there, and then hopefully that will sort of like bring it in a little bit. This is going to be a bit redder than I initially planned, but that's alright, doesn't matter. We're going to tie that in with a bit of acrylic again at a later point. So again, if anyone doesn't know what this is, it's Khizriel. How do you say it, actually? Seeing as convicts here, how do you say it? Is it Khizriel or Khizrael or Khizriel? How do you say that? It seems to be the way, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite a new ship. It's one of the it's an Angel's uh, uh, battle cruiser. which I really want to get and haven't had the opportunity to. And I really want to do solo PvP in it, but I'm too scared to lose ISK. Because every time I undock in anything lately, it just dies straight away, which is killing me inside. Um, uh, but I'm sure at some point I will get some luck. And when I say luck, I just mean like some fights that some better actual fights where it wasn't. I mean, winning isn't doesn't necessarily equate to a good fight, by the way, guys. Um, like I've never really subscribed to that. I don't really like the whole idea of winning before you undock. Um, I get it, it makes sense, but it makes for some of the most boring fights, and a lot of the people I come across that do that, I tend to avoid because they've picked out, like I'll be there in my Tyrannus and they'll have like a hawk or something, and I'm like, well, that's great, but why would I engage? Why would I engage a hawk, in a Tyrannus or any type of assault frigate actually? Although I have engaged I nearly beat an Enya once, which was quite weird, but I guess they didn't have any void loaded because I just sort of like orbited them at range and went from there. A bit like you would with an Atron, really. You just go in at range and stuff. I've tried taking on destroyers as well in my little Tyrannus. Um, Nearly killed a catalyst a few times. I probably have killed a catalyst somewhere, but I just I don't know. I don't know where it is right now. So some of these details right in the back are more just like I'm just alluding to the detail rather than actually putting any detail in. They're sort of like greyish areas where, and because it's in the background, might not matter that much in the grand scale of things. Um, so I'm just sort of like putting the like little lines in here and there. There'll be some acrylic going in there later to pick out some highlights, and the highlights will just should help bring that out a little bit. So there's like a little white line here on the actual one, but underneath it is like a really dark line, which is quite good. We're actually getting browner and browner in this bit, and I don't, it's not really the colour I want. So I'm going to add a little bit more of this ultramarine blue. Yeah, well, I've sketched it a couple of times now, but I haven't actually got around to painting it, and I really sort of like, I wanted to paint the well, what's it called, the Angels Titan as well. And a few years ago, I actually put together. I actually tried. I started a painting of the carrier, because the carrier, the Angels carrier, I think really does look uh, sexy as hell. It is just. Oh, it does actually look as sexy as hell. Hell's got to be one of the most, if not the best looking um, carrier for sure. Definitely. Yeah, the cross on. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely one of the better sort of ships, better looking ships, I should say. So right here, we've got this little pattern here, and then underneath is like a really dark line, and then there'll be a little white line, which I'll just use a bit of acrylic later to pull it out. And then as long as you're not like looking right up to it, it should be fine. A lot of people are never gonna see the detail you don't put in. Um, and like I was saying to mine, like yeah, we try and make these messy sort of like he was saying about the messy look and how it's really difficult to do. And after a while of like painting and stuff like that, you kind of get your feeling for how you want something to look, and it does bring out your individual flavor. The way that you want to pick stuff out. So some people might do even less in the background than me, for example. And some people are really good at sort of like loose artwork, like Joseph Subovic, for example. Like he's a sort of world class. Um, he's like a world class watercolor artist, and it's just some of the I've seen him paint, and it's just like, wow, how does someone do that so quickly? He'll make something look better than it does in real life, which is insane. But I guess, he's been at it for a few years, and he's classed as one of the world's best sort of watercolors, along with people like Alvaro. Um, and he's a really nice guy as well. So again, a little bit of detail here goes a long way, but it's not major detail. I don't want. I'm having like I will admit I'm struggling with this little bit here at the moment, this little area here, because I'm kind of like I'm not really figuring out what I want out of these areas just yet. So there's a little grey here, and then there's this big dark line here, and that goes behind a little grey thing, whatever that might be. I don't know what you'd call that. It's not. I suppose it might be engine cowling, but these sort of like light sources are what make a lot of ships for me. That's what makes them truly sort of special. I really like that sort of look on these ships when they've got like good light sources and good shadows, like the Triglavian ships, for example. Um, they have some really really nice look, like shadows and light to them. Same with the SOE ships. Um, but I think a lot of this is going to be. I've got to put some water in here and a little touch of blue, because I don't want that sort of light colour. Hey Real, how's it going? How's your how was your solo adventure today? Uh, I quite enjoyed your stream yesterday. That was kind of really. I did really enjoy that. I was actually sad that you didn't get a fight out of that gang, because you were doing so well as well against them, and I just knew if they pulled off of that scimitar, it'd have been the end for them, really, especially if they didn't bring that hey Ronchi, especially if they didn't bring that what was it, a Drekavac. If they didn't bring that Drekavac, that would have been an amazing fight for you. You'd have been like over the moon, sort of like with it. But they just didn't want to pull off the little gang, did they? So, which is it's pretty normal in Eve at the moment. People just don't want to really engage anything they can't lose. I get it. It's not really me. I'm really especially since the changes, I actually want to catch a I want to really really catch a uh, ki- kicking more out with my Tyrannus, and see if I can actually kill one now, because of the ramp up changes might actually put me in a good position to. There's a few ships I still haven't managed to kill solo with a Tyrannus. Um, I actually managed to grab and kill a Jackdaw, which was for a long time the Jackdaws were the one ship I hadn't actually killed, and he wasn't a bad fit either. He was a lot. It was just he was a long range fit, and I caught him just I caught him just at the right time. Basically, I caught him um, and I managed to get a scram on him, and yeah, he died, which was kind of mad. I've actually killed a Hecate as well with a Tyrannus, which I was very confused about. Very, very confused about. And this is. It'd be nice. Maybe I'll watch that in a little bit then as well. Like, I don't. I'm kind of like avoiding commissions at the moment. It's. I just, I haven't really painted properly for quite a few months, like six months and that, because it's been a bit of a bit of a tough year for me. So I don't mean to keep saying it, but I found I also have a list of people who I was supposed to do commissions for, and I haven't caught up with them. So I really, really do need to catch up with those people first before I could do anything for anybody else. Um, I do, I do sort of like I should really do it and stuff, but I sort of like do run into trouble as well with commission work. So because some people can just be so like and I know, yeah, it's their right. If you want something done in a particular way and stuff like that, it's great. But um, it can be quite hard painting for other people all the time. Um, Especially when you're like, oh, you've just seen a really cool stream or a really cool sort of like screenshot, or CCP's just shared that as like a recent video or anything, and then you're like, oh, I really want to pay that, but you've got other stuff that you've got to catch up with first and stuff like that. So commissions are a bit of a, I don't know, like I'm not really fond of commissions in the grand scale of things. So, but if you keep an eye on my socials, you never know. So right now we've got some of these lines. You'll notice that some of these areas are a little bit grey. Again, paint's watery, so it's quite see-through, which means that I'm going to push to where I want it. You can also see down at this bottom bit here, you've got like some of these lines that come down. So it's not, like, so this bit's a patch. Do you see how light that is? That bit's just a little patch of grey. So I'm going to just do that, and then later on I'll probably bring in some more colours on that, and then this bit should be a little bit darker. And again, here we go. So we've got a little bit there, and then these. These sort of like shapes and colours that sort of don't really. So you want to pull out that colour to here. So it's got a sort of blend, so to speak, and then we want these just some little lines. And again, there's a little squares here. It's just, I guess it's just a little bit of texture that I just feel that I'm missing. See you later, Convict. Thanks for joining the stream as well, and lovely to chat to you again, although briefly. But thanks for joining. So again, some of this colour is like not really going the way I want it to, but it doesn't matter, because like Bob Ross says, we're making room for those happy little mistakes, aren't we? And we're going to do this bottom line as well. And bring that out here. Maybe have a little. You know what we're missing? You know what we're missing, don't you guys? Some lovely texture. So I kind of want it to be a little bit watery, because I don't want it again. want to bring that and have a little bit of water texture as well. Just to sort of like help bring it out a little bit. Thanks, Fado. Oh no, my tea's gone cold. Well, at least I didn't wash my brush in it this time, so. Thanks, Fado. I'll have a look at that in a little bit. Every little bit of support is always appreciated, mate. Honestly, thank you. So I'm just gonna use my brush like this a minute, and you'll see like what I mean by we're just gonna not worry about some of these mistakes too much. And I'll bring this in a little bit again, this little bit in here. Yeah, we're not doing too bad, are we? You know, there's a little some of these little areas sort of like need detail work done to them. So this bit kind of needs some work, and again that might not really show too well on here, but I can see that sort of like looking. I can see there's some little lines here like that, and we're gonna do some of these as well. I'm gonna start doing some of these little I don't know what you'd call these actually, like armor or plating lines. I'm not really sure, but we're gonna start putting some of these in, and I don't really want to worry too much about how accurate some of these are. I mean, some I want accurate where they sort of like give a general shape, or there's something that I want them to do. So like these don't actually curve inward, but I want them to sort of like give that look that it's like a curving bit of armor. This bit of shadow that I'm going to put in now doesn't actually exist. Well, it does, but not in this color. But because I want it there, and to accentuate that sort of like curve, I'm going to put it where it doesn't really exist. Again, you know, these are we do a lot of, when you're painting, you do a lot of details that aren't really there, just to give you sort of like a better look, or a more stylized look, or just because I want to sort of like, I guess you could call it lazy detailing as well if you really wanted to, but you know, we're not really actually putting a lot of these details on. A lot of these details are just like what would you call it? I don't know, but they're there anyway. Like this bit's a bit greyish that I've missed out, and there's a bit of camo here, but you can see that it's sort of like falling apart. The detail's not really there, so I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow there. Again, hopefully that sort of helps it out, and I'm just going to darken the bit of camo up here and leave the little bit there. So hopefully that will pull that out a little bit. This bit's actually got a shadow, so again we're trying to force the colour into that edge, and then get rid of this little bit here, because I don't really want that to be too. Oh, so that sort of like works for me. Thanks, mate. You'll have to catch up with me on Eve sometime unless you're just mining in, where was it? Kino used to mine all the time, wasn't it? Um, I think there are people that mine there now, and they sort of like suicide gang people um, a lot there, if I'm not mistaken. So do you play Eve as well then, Tina? I guess you did say something earlier. Ah, I see. Yeah, I'm not too tuned into the old wars and stuff at the moment. Um, I was reading something about the Goristas and Angels at one point, but I did try and join the Angels faction warfare, but I wasn't allowed. Oh, something to do with stand-ins. So what I'm doing now, guys, is just putting in a couple of extra lines to the oh, what are they called again? I think it's just the armor plate lines um, right now. And this has actually got more. This is actually a lot thicker than I've done it here. But again, I don't really want to do too much. Right, that'll do. And then there's like a little. Yeah, that'll do. There's like that little dark line there that I'm going to run with just there. I know it goes a little bit darker underneath. Again, some of these details I can actually pull in a bit more with the later on. Oh, you actually play with Pete? I feel so bad for you. I couldn't help it, Pete. It's been a while. I don't see you often enough to insult you anymore. So, uh, well, I've actually got some sad news about my mum. You've obviously not. Right, it's been a while since I caught up with you, so I know you spoke to her as well at some point. Yeah, my dad's alright. I mean, he's still alive, so there's that. But no, he's good. He's riding his bike around. He's got a like a Harley, and he's in a Harley club, so he's riding that around, enjoying his life and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I spoke to him yesterday. I took him some Irish coffees, Irish toffee. Um, so yeah, he's grand. Uh, he's looking after himself as well, which is the important thing as you get older. You know, I mean, he's like it's quite it's, It's quite amusing. Yeah, no worries, mate. It's quite amusing though, because he's uh he's like 72, and a lot of the guys in his group are like in his bike group are a lot younger than him. They still work and stuff like that, and he looks younger than them. So it's really really amusing, because none of them can figure it out. Similarly, I've been called a vampire at work as well because none of them figured out that I was. They just can't believe that I'm actually like 40 plus, which is amusing as hell for me. Um, so again, we're just bringing in some of these little details, and they help tie in the entire picture really. And again, so here this line should be a lot darker, um, and a lot of these lines are going to be brought in. A lot of these lines are going to be brought up later with some highlights and stuff like that, and then I might go over it again with some flicks or some little patterns and stuff. But these tend to look these pictures tend to look a lot better uh, when you are sort of like yeah, well, yeah, these sorts of pictures do look a lot better when they're yeah, zoomed out and stuff like that. So let's have a look and see if I can. I don't know if it's going to look better if I zoom in or if I just raise it up. But you can see. Oh, so I need to just make some more changes to the highlights and stuff like that, and that's how we're going to sort of like really bring this out. So I'm just going to wait for this to dry, and I'm just going to refill my tea because I didn't get to drink the last one, and I'll be right back. I'm going to let it dry naturally because sometimes when you use the heater, it doesn't really help as well, and it's also going to give me. Usually, I use this time to sort of like figure out what I want to do with the picture, and then go from there. So I'll be right back. So that's the kettle on. And again, I'm thinking that to really bring this out, I'm thinking I kind of want to darken the background a little bit more, but I do and I don't. So it's going to be a bit problematic now for me because I kind of want to darken this bit. Okay, yeah, that'll do. I can't help every time I say that'll do, I see a little pig in my head, and it drives me actually insane. I don't know if any of you have ever watched Babe, but yeah, every single time now, whenever I hear the phrase "that'll do," I just think of about that little pig. So we can do that, and I'm just trying to think of where I can add some extra. Do you see how this one has actually lost? Well, that's right, because I kind of want that as a different colour anyway. And we're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna bring that down because I kind of like lost that sort of camo bit there, and then we've got a little bit here that I kind of want to do. Um, lost this one as well. kind of want to bring that in a little bit more. Yeah, so, and darken this patch up. And then we got some patches around the back of here that I kind of like. Kind of like their colour and tone around here anyway. I kind of do want to overlay some of this colour though on these bits, just to sort of like bring them out. We seem to have lost the camo on here, but that's alright. I'm gonna have to lighten that up a little bit with some actual colours and stuff. And this one isn't supposed to be that light really. And then there's this one that I got rid of earlier. So we are now looking to bring some of these little details in. I don't know if you can see that, guys. But there's like a lot of little details now that are just going to be not really streamable, which is a bit of a shame. And then yeah, just darken that line again. And again, I'm going to bring this one a little bit darker. Okay. So 2 seconds. How about, seeing as there's 57 on the stream, how about we take a minute to let this dry, and let's have, if any of you are paying attention, do you want to pop in a suggestion in the stream chat for my next stream? If you can pop in your suggestions for the next stream. Yeah, I saw. I should have said it then. But I haven't seen many people type in. So, Demos. Okay. Galente. See, Galente needs a little bit of green. It's Pete. Did you expect anything less? A rifter. I seem to be lacking my highlight brush. Any other suggestions? Ah, right. It would be a Jaguar, wouldn't it? Well, there's slightly differences. I think out of all three, the Wolf's probably the prettiest. Personally, I like the Wolf the most because it is slightly different. So, guys, we are in acrylic time right now. So we can see this little So which one would you put as a suggestion for the next painting, Satch? Oh, which one would you do? A Drake or which one are you gonna go with? You got to pick one. Like if you had to pick one, which would it be? I did do a Guardian once. I actually really like the Agora. I was looking at the stats the other day, and they are. I know they rep a lot less, but I do really like using Agoras as Logi ships. You like the lift? Oh, I don't know about the lift. That's the capital, isn't it? That's the capital ship. What is that? The Caldari one, is it? Or the Dagon? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm not up to date with the capital ships, to be honest with you. I don't know which ones are which. A lot of the time when somebody mentions capital ships, because I don't fly them, you see, at all, which is kind of weird because I've got Amar capital ships to five and everything, and I don't fly ever. I think the last time I flew a the last time I flew one, it was the Amar one, the Archon, and that was so long ago now. And it was just as a suitcase more than anything else. I would use it to sort of rebase myself every now and again, and I haven't actually done that for quite a while. What's KF? So this is quite a watery bit of acrylic. Again, it's just so I can pick out some of the highlights here, and basically it'll dry a lot. It'll dry a lot. What's the word? Lighter. Sorry. It'll sort of like blend in more to the actual picture once it dries. But this is a sort of technique I do near the end of a painting. Usually just picking out bits and stuff like that to uh, just to highlight certain areas and stuff like that. Because like I said, most of these highlights should fade in time. And again, to accentuate the dark lines, the light lines go on, and it just helps sort of bring out. It helps the contrast a little bit. And I can see a little white line there, and we're probably going to bring in a little white line here. So again, this is another area where it's gone a little bit darker than I would have preferred. So I'll just give it a sort of wash of white, and then later on I might bring some in just to give it some highlights. I mean, this is the sort of stage that I didn't really want to show I was avoiding doing the rattlesnake for, because it might not actually show too well on the stream. Again, this bit I'm just gonna put a bit of water on, and then highlight it just quite simply. I don't want to put too much detail on there again. Seeing as most of the detail I want sort of really, what's the word? Sort of light. I just want a detail in there, sort of lightish. What's KF? I'm not sure what KF is. Is that a corp or something? Karma Fleet. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. I should have figured that out, really, shouldn't I? But I didn't. So there. Haha. No, it's my fault. I know who Karma Fleet is. I just didn't put two and two together, unfortunately. So are you in Karma Fleet then, Pete? Or oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, I did actually have an offer at one point from one of the groups in Imperium, but I decided not to take it because I thought about it and I thought, well, where am I going to go to get my most enjoyable PvP? Seeing as they usually are quite happy to come out in small gangs or you know, or even solo in Delve, which it still makes it one of it's like my favorite region to PvP. Everywhere else I go, it's just I can't. Yeah, 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 goons. Um, yeah, like so I went to fraternity space with a Cinnaball, which should usually get a gang response and stuff like that. But they bought. Not only did they bring a gang, they had an Arazu chasing me around, and I literally DC'd for like 2 seconds. I DC'd, logged straight back in, and by the time I'd logged straight back in, I had 10 marshals shooting at me and killing my Cinnaball, and I was like, wow, just that's pretty insane. Sort of like dedication. Like they didn't even have probes on D-scan when I disconnected. You know, so it was quite impressive. But just what's the point in having space if you're not gonna? I don't know. Like I thought part of the reason to have space was to attract people to come and PvP in it. But I guess you know I suppose I'm in the minority. I guess. But yeah, frat space, man, it's tough. Frat space is really tough. So what I'm just doing at the moment, guys, is I'm sort of like edging some of these armor plates with this like watered down color, and it should, in some instances, sort of like bring it out a little bit. It just depends on how much there is on there, and then some of these areas I will probably go over again at a later date. You know, like probably not on stream, because this painting might be sat around for a little bit while I figure out my sort of like next moves. and there's some colour that I want to sort of like bring in as well. Um, Especially around this sort of area, where I've got a lot of detail sort of going and sort of like registered here, I guess, like this here. Again, if I pull it, it'll shoot the light, the white to one corner, and that'll be where the um, the real light sort of colour will be. And let's see if we can get some little touches here. I know that there's a real nice little edge here. And again, here and here. Oh, I see. And some of these might need to a little bit more layering and stuff for them to really show. Now I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna go over this in acrylic, I'm just gonna put a little bit of white edge in and in here, that'll like disappear when I start putting some more acrylic over the top of that. But for right now, I kind of wanted it there. Oh, well, there is some stuff in the actual on the store, but I don't know if any of it's sort of like what you'd want. So I'm gonna go. This is what I was saying earlier, guys, about wanting to come in with a different color that wasn't really working with the red earlier on. So I'm just making a like watery pink and white sort of acrylic-y sort of color, and I'm just gonna use it as a little. Oh no, not like that. Not like that at all. It's alright. That might be a little bit too watery. or I've just got too much water on the brush. Probably the latter, to be honest with you. So these all have like the little pink highlights on, and then this one here has the little which we're going to line in, and then we're just going to put a little dot in the corner to sort of like help accentuate that sort of little line going there. And I don't know if this is going to work now because, oh no, that's alright. That'll do. Oh, that'll do, pig, that'll do. And again, we'll just put this there as well. And then here, we don't actually, there's not actually pink there, but we're going to go with pink anyway. And this bit is actually orange, but I don't care, I'm going with pink anyway. And again, there's a little patch here. Again, it's orange, but we're going with pink. We can always come in a little bit later with some other colours in this bit, guys. I kind of just want to sort of bring this out a little bit. That's more like it. That's the sort of colour I wanted. And some of this I'm gonna, you know, bring that out. This is actually orange, but I don't care. Again, it's going pink. See you later, Vado. Have a good one, Satch. A lot of these sort of like colours are gonna not really go too well. Oh, see you later, Tina. And yeah, nice to meet you as well, mate. Yeah, it's well, your name's Tina, so it's a bit like, you know, there must be a lady. But glad, thank you for clarifying. You have been a star tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you very much today. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, well, you know, when you if you it depends on what you call yourself when you start your account, you know. Hey, Neely. I I'm gonna guess I know who that is. Is that someone who's supposed to be working right about now? Oh, I forgot. We've actually got a really nice orange here that I've sort of like completely missed out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do it because yellow's a bit of an awkward colour to do. Uh, Let me have a look. This one, I think this one always sort of like works out. Orange. It's an acrylic orange, so unfortunately you'll just have to bear with me. And a lot of the time this actually gets okay. So it goes a bit peachy. That's cool. That's good. That's okay. Yeah, that'll do. I could probably do a bit more yellow in that, but the peach colour is fine for now. Actually, we will add a little bit of yellow. Although that cadmium yellow doesn't never really go properly, so let's see if we can find another one. No, we'll just go with what we have. Oh, that'll do, won't it? Look at that. That's close enough. Yeah, that's the one we want. So we're actually coming up to 3 hours on this picture, which is probably about. It seems to be like the normal sort of time. And we got some little orange flicks here. So one's here. And the other's like in the two part here and here. And I'm just going to try and lay it on a little bit thicker. Yeah, I do. And then this one I just want to match that sort of colour with. And then we've got some little light lines here. So there's one here, 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 and here. Three down here somewhere. Where are they? Should pick them out. They're not here, so they're on this little bit here. And you know, there's a little orange line there that I'm going to just use there. And to be honest, this is actually orange in this here, so it goes from orange. It goes to like a orangey pinky. It's that sort of colour, isn't it? And we're just going to bring in the highlights here as well as for this little bit of. And again here. I'm actually going to darken that up a little bit in a little bit, and you'll notice that I haven't even put in the little bit of red there. Which we're going to do like this, just a little bit of red there. Yeah, just enough that you cannot actually see it, and then the little spot. And I think for now, that is the Khizriel. We are at 3 hours for the stream and 46 viewers. So, let's get rid of that. That there. I like to sign in red. We don't have to sign in red, but this is very much one of those types of paintings. So we're going to sign the name at the bottom here in red. There we go. And I just really want to. Oh, I shouldn't really, but I really want to bring in these little. So much for keeping it loose, but yeah. It is what it is, you know. That is our Khizriel. So I hope you guys liked it. For those who actually were with the whole stream, glad you tuned in. And if I just lift this up a little bit, you can get to see the Khizriel a bit better. So you know, feel free to leave comments on the post. I will be highlighting this later, and maybe doing something else. We're coming up to the 3 hours now, so that was actually pretty good timing. Again, I will probably post some. You know, it's just probably going to sit around for a few days, and I might actually do a couple of more details on it that I can see. So like a little bit of shadow and stuff like that I didn't that I've sort of like missed out, and then which will add to me being able to do the highlights and stuff. Does anyone know how to? I don't know how to do this. What are these buttons at the bottom here? I don't actually know how to use Twitch, so I'm a bit confused how to. Does anyone in the channel actually know how to use Twitch? And yeah, glad you guys like it. Um, that'll probably end up on the store at some point. But like I said, there are a few details that I kind of want to finish off with it. Yeah, she's just gone. Let me see if I can figure it out. Let me see. Uh, I'll tell you what I will do. I will actually Google it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So let's have a look. Eve online Twitch. I don't know who's going to be uh, playing at this time, but hopefully it's like so Larry. Let's go with Real. We'll go with Real's channel. So I'm supposed to go. Is that it? Yeah, it's gonna be Real. I think. Oh, so I'm off, guys, and thank you for joining, and I'll see you later. Thanks a lot.